who spoke to you once and you swore it wasn't human. First story. I was living with my parents at the time. It was a modest single-story house, comfortable with a typical layout. The bathroom was right across from my bedroom, a hallway connected the rooms, and at the end was the living room, which was pitch black at night. Nothing out of the ordinary. That night, I woke up around 3 a.m. with an urgent need to use the bathroom. You know that half-asleep feeling where you know you'll regret it if you don't get up. So, I dragged myself out of bed, shuffled to the bathroom like a zombie, and everything was normal. I finished, washed my hands, and just as I turned off the light and opened the door, I heard someone say, "Hey." I froze. It wasn't just any hey. It wasn't soft or like someone calling from a distance. It sounded like it came from a meter away, as if someone was standing in the hallway waiting for me. Worse, it wasn't a voice I recognized. It didn't sound hostile, but there was something in its tone I can't quite describe. Clear, masculine like a young adult, but empty, like it came from a throat that had never spoken before. My first reaction was logical, or so I thought. "Dad." I called softly. Nothing. Total silence. I took a slow step into the hallway, expecting to see a shadow move. Nothing. I turned on the hallway light. Empty. I looked toward the living room. Complete darkness. I walked over, turned on that light too. No one. My dog, who always slept in his bed by the sofa, was there, wide awake, ears perked, staring intently at the hallway behind me. That's what got me. He wasn't easily spooked, but this time he didn't bark, just stared like he was waiting for something. I went back to my room, heart racing, closed the door and locked it. I tried to convince myself it was a dream, that I'd imagined it, that I was half asleep, anything. But I didn't dream it. I know because that morning I casually asked my parents if either of them had gotten up during the night. My dad said no, he'd slept through. My mom same. Neither had left their room. What confirmed I wasn't crazy was when I asked about the dog. My mom said she noticed he was acting strange when she got up, restless, sticking close to her, which wasn't like him. I let it go, or tried to. For weeks, I got into the habit of checking the hallway before bed. I slept with the door closed and my desk light on. I was embarrassed to admit it, but I couldn't help it. About a month later, something worse happened. This time, I didn't hear anything, but I woke up at the exact same time, 3:13 a.m., and the hallway light was on. It wasn't possible. I turned it off. I have this habit of checking twice before bed. My door was closed as always, and my parents slept at the other end of the house and never got up without reason. I stayed in bed, frozen, as if that would protect me from whatever was out there. Then I heard footsteps. Not heavy, not dragging, just slow steps. 1, 2, silence. Then nothing. The next morning I asked again. My parents swore they hadn't left their rooms. They told me I was obsessing, to stop watching weird stuff online. I didn't press further. But the strange thing is, from that night on, my dog refused to sleep in his bed. He started staying in my room, something he'd never done before. Years have passed since then. I've moved, changed cities, routines. I never heard that voice again, but I still remember its tone, so human yet so inhuman, like someone trying to speak without fully understanding how to sound human. I don't know what it was, but I'm certain that night, someone or something spoke to me and it wasn't human. It couldn't have been. Second story. I've never talked about this because, honestly, it's hard to make sense of what happened. It's not a story about seeing a shadow and running or one of those small-town legends. It's more intimate, something that didn't end when I left the place. I carried it with me and I'm not sure how to explain it, but I'll try. A few years ago, I took a weekend trip alone to the mountains. I needed it. Work stress, life in general, was eating me alive. I'd found the perfect spot, a forested area with a 3-hour hike leading to a small clearing ideal for camping. I arrived in the afternoon. The sun was still up, but the light was shifting to that golden hue that makes everything feel slower. I set up my tent, made a quick dinner, and sat by the fire. The forest, the wind through the trees, the soft snap of branches, the constant hum of wildlife. Everything was fine. I was at peace, or so I thought. As I was about to crawl into my tent, I heard something that didn't fit. Not a loud sound or anything scary at the time, just a murmur like someone talking softly not far away. I froze, held my breath, and listened closely. It was like hearing a conversation but without understanding any words. Just syllables, tones, pauses, as if someone were mimicking the rhythm of human speech without meaning. I stood still, staring into the darkness between the trees. I saw nothing, but the false language continued, like someone rehearsing how to sound human without knowing what they were saying. My mind tried to rationalize it: wind, an animal, an echo from another campsite. I climbed into the tent, put on headphones to block out the outside, and forced myself to sleep. I woke at 3:30 a.m. Not from a noise or cold, just snapped awake like something had pulled me back. The silence outside was thick, not the usual night silence but a void even the crickets respected. I sat up in my sleeping bag, barely moving, as if some part of me knew to stay still. Then I heard my name, whispered, not from the forest but right next to my tent. I felt a faint vibration in the ground, like someone was standing there, feet just inches from the tent's fabric. I didn't scream, didn't move, didn't turn on my flashlight. I just sat there, trembling, back tense, eyes wide in the dark. The voice repeated it once more, my name, in a neutral tone, like someone testing it in their mouth for the first time. No emotion, no intent. Then silence, so long I thought I'd imagined it. But just before dawn I heard it again, my voice exactly the same, saying, "Everything's fine." I froze. I didn't leave the tent until the sky was fully blue. When I did, there were no footprints, no broken branches, no signs of anyone. But 6 or 7 meters from where I'd slept, I found a stack of stones that wasn't there when I set up camp. Not natural, like an improvised totem. I packed up in silence, no breakfast, no thinking, just moving. As I walked away, I glanced back at the clearing. I saw nothing, but a clear certainty hit me, like a truth that needs no words. Whatever spoke to me that night wasn't trying to scare me. It was trying to understand me. And that was worse because, for some reason, I think it succeeded. Third story. It was a Wednesday. I know because I was waiting for a work call that never came. I was at home around 3 p.m. when my phone rang. Nothing unusual until I saw the number. It was my number. Not a similar one, not one that started the same. It was mine, exactly, with my name and photo, like I was calling myself. I thought it was a glitch, laughed a bit, and recorded it to send to a friend later. Weird things happen with phones. I didn't answer. That was a mistake. At first, silence, no static, no hum, just emptiness. Then I heard my voice. Not a recording, not someone mimicking me, my tone, my breathing, my pauses. But something was off, like each word was separated by a microsecond of nothing. It said, "You shouldn't have come." That was it. Click. The call ended. I stood there, phone pressed to my ear for seconds, then checked the call log. Nothing. No record of any call. That night, I dreamed of myself standing in my hallway. Not me, but me, same face, empty eyes, like when you're awake but not fully. In the dream, this me looked at me and said in the same voice from the phone, "You know what you did." I woke up drenched in cold sweat, the usual. I tried to forget it. Stress, coincidence, weird dreams, nothing more. Then it happened again. The second call came at the exact same time, 3:03 p.m. I didn't answer, let it ring. It stopped after 3 rings. Again, no record in the call log. That night, I dreamed of a mirror. I was smiling, but the reflection lagged, like it was learning to mimic me. I started fearing unknown numbers, being alone, even my own voice. The third time, I answered without thinking, fed up. The same voice said, "You're starting to understand," followed by a sound I can't describe. Not laughter, not static, like something huge being dragged down a metal hallway, dense, without echo. I haven't gotten more calls since months ago, but sometimes I hear my voice in videos I didn't record, in WhatsApp audios I don't remember sending, with a slightly off tone, like a part of me broke free and is out there, making its own calls. Fourth story. I was 8 the first time I heard my mom calling me from the closet. It was nighttime. My parents weren't home. My aunt was babysitting, passed out on the couch watching telenovelas. I was in my room, lying awake, staring at the ceiling, making up stories in my head like always. Then, from the darkness of the closet, I heard, "Come." It was my mom's voice, unmistakable, but she wasn't supposed to be there. I froze, just staring at the closed closet, its slats usually letting in hallway light, but that night, everything was dark, silent. I thought, I'm dreaming, I'm falling asleep. Then it came again clearer. "Come here, my love." It was her tone, the way she stretched the last word, like when she called me from the kitchen. I sat up in bed and whispered, "Mom, are you there?" A long silence, almost 2 minutes of nothing. Then, "No. Stay there." That's when I knew something was wrong. My mom would never say that, not in that flat tone, like someone reciting a phrase without understanding it, like they were trying to sound like a mother but missing the mark. I didn't get up. I pulled the covers over my head, despite the heat, and stayed that way until I fell asleep. The next day I didn't say anything. What could I say? That the closet talked to me? They'd say I dreamed it. Maybe I did, I thought, until it happened again. The second time was worse because it was daytime. I was in my room working on a puzzle. My mom was outside hanging laundry and I heard from the closet the same voice. "Are you playing?" I jumped up, ran to the door and yelled for my mom that someone was in my room. She came, checked, opened the closet. Nothing. She said I must have dreamed it, but I wasn't asleep. It was her voice, but soulless, without real intent. A voice disguised as a mother. Years passed and I never forgot. It never happened again, or at least I didn't hear it. But a few months ago, helping my mom pack boxes in the old house, I opened that closet and found something. A small notebook with my childhood drawings. On one page in my handwriting it said, "The closet mom isn't mom." I don't remember writing it. The strangest part? It was signed with my name twice. Once in pencil, once in black marker, identical. I never used a black marker as a kid. Fifth story. This happened just over a year ago, shortly after my son was born. Our first baby, so you can imagine, exhausted, emotional, nerves on edge all the time. I barely slept, ate poorly, and lived glued to the video baby monitor. We had one with a screen and audio, the kind you can leave in listening mode. It worked fine, though the signal sometimes cut out from interference. Nothing unusual, I thought. It started with a whisper. The first time was around 2:40 a.m. I was half asleep, the monitor on my nightstand, volume low but enough to hear if the baby cried. I heard something, not my son's cry, but a short word, a murmur that snapped my eyes open. Something like "go," drawn out slowly like someone stretching it too long. I checked the screen. The baby was fast asleep. I thought I'd imagined it, turned off the screen and closed my eyes. 2 nights later it happened again. This time my name, whispered low, raspy. My name, twice, pronounced perfectly but with an empty intonation. I sat up in bed, frozen, not daring to move for a while. When I finally grabbed the monitor, the baby was still asleep. I checked the volume, the settings, if it had some automated voice feature or connected to something else. Nothing. Then I noticed something that sent a chill through me so strong I had to sit down. The monitor was unplugged. I'd forgotten to plug it in after charging it that afternoon, and the battery was completely dead. It shouldn't have been working. I went to the baby's room. Nothing strange, no open windows, nothing out of place. But the air felt dense, like I'd walked into a space where something had just happened and left, leaving a trace. The worst came a week later, around 4:10 a.m. I woke up for no reason. No cry, no sound, just snapped awake. I grabbed the monitor. The screen was on, though I'd turned it off before bed. The baby was asleep, but the camera was out of focus, like something was passing between the lens and the crib, like the air was vibrating. Then I heard something, not a whisper this time, a kind of chant, like a song without melody, a voice saying something in a language I didn't recognize. At the end, amid the senseless murmur, my name again, not whispered, but a call, calm, like someone who knows you'll hear it eventually. I didn't use that monitor again. We threw it out, bought a new model with better security. Nothing strange happened after that until 2 nights ago. I was in the living room, my son asleep, scrolling through photos on my phone. I found an image I don't remember taking. A screenshot of the monitor with the crib, but there was something else. A dark, blurry silhouette, almost imperceptible, clearly between the camera and the crib, so close its head nearly touched the frame's edge. It had no defined shape, no face, just an elongated shadow. Below the image, in the notification bar, it said, "Automatic screenshot, 4:13 a.m. I haven't deleted it. I don't know why. Maybe I want proof, or maybe part of me understands something I don't want to say out loud. That thing wasn't talking to my baby. It was talking to me." Sixth story. This happened when I was 16. I've never told anyone outside my family because, honestly, every time I go over it in my head, it sounds stupid or like a poorly remembered nightmare. But I was awake. I know I was, and what I heard and saw that night still makes me question everything. It was one of those nights when you're home alone. My parents were out to dinner, my younger sister at a friend's sleepover. We had an agreement. If anything happened, I'd call them. Nothing ever did. It was a quiet neighborhood, big house, alarm dog, no issues. That night, I was relaxed, eating cereal straight from the box, watching YouTube with headphones on. Around 11:20 p.m., I took them off and heard a voice, not loud but clear. My name. Son, can you come down for a moment? It was my mom's voice. I didn't think twice, got up to see what she wanted, but just before leaving my room I stopped. I remembered she wasn't home. The voice was exactly her tone, the slight drag in her words when she was tired. But it couldn't be her. I thought maybe it was on speakerphone outside or someone playing a prank. I cracked the door open and heard it again. Don't you hear me? Now closer, like it came from the foot of the stairs. I didn't respond. I closed the door slowly. It had no lock, so I wedged a chair under the handle like in the movies, feeling ridiculous. I crouched by the bed, silent, heart pounding so hard it hurt. I waited, 1 minute, 2. Then I heard soft footsteps, one, another, stopping right outside my door. No knock, no bang, just a pause. Then, I know you're there. It was her voice, identical, but something was off. A strange pause between words, like the phrase was recited, too perfect. I didn't move, didn't speak, just waited for it to leave. Eventually it did, or at least I didn't hear anything more. When my parents got home that night, I didn't say anything. But the next morning as I came down for breakfast, my mom said something that gave me chills. Were you talking last night? I heard your voice when we came in. I thought you were awake. I hadn't said a word, and they'd gotten home at 12:47 a.m., long after it happened. Since then, something changed in the house. Nothing like that happened again, but sometimes in the early hours I think I hear a voice downstairs. It doesn't shout, doesn't call, just repeats things I've said before, like someone practicing to sound like me.